you ought to be happy where you are working. And I always worry about people who say, you know, I'm going to do this for 10 years. I really don't like it very well, and then I'll do 10 more years of this. And I mean, that's a little like saving up sex for your old age. I mean, not a very good idea.
Max Planck, when he won the Nobel Prize, was invited to run around Germany giving lectures. And a chauffeur drove him. And after he'd given the lecture about 20 times, the chauffeur had memorized it. And he said, you know, says Professor Planck, it's so boring. Why don't you just sit in the audience and I, the chauffeur, will give your talk. And so the chauffeur got up and gave Max Planck's talk on physics, and some professor stood up and asked some terrible question. And the chauffeur said, well, he says, I'm surprised that in an advanced city like Munich, people are asking elementary questions like that. He says, I'm going to ask my chauffeur to answer that one.
About halfway through the first quarter, Bill said, what's that big N stand for on those guys of yours? I said, Bill, I said, what the hell? I said, it's knowledge.
Well, I'm telling jokes. I might tell one of my favorite stories about a plane that's flying over the Mediterranean. And the pilot's voice comes on. He says, a terrible thing has happened. We're losing both engines. We're going to have to land in the Mediterranean. And he says, the plane will stay afloat for a very short time, and we'll be able to open the door just long enough so that everybody can get out. And we have to do this in an orderly fashion. He says, everybody who can swim, go to the right wing and just stand there. And everybody who can't swim, go to the left wing and just stand there. And he says, those of you on the right wing, you'll find a little island in the direction of the sun that's 2 miles off, and as the plane goes under, just swim over to the island, you'll be fine. And for those of you on the left wing, he says, I want to thank you for flying Air Italia.
I have turned down business deals that were otherwise decent deals because I didn't like the people that I would have to work with. I didn't see any sense pretending it. And to get involved with people that really cause your stomach to churn. I say it's a lot like marrying for money, that it's probably a bad idea under any circumstances, but it's absolutely crazy if you're already rich, right? In fact, I've got a letter. I've already sent out a letter that tells what should be done, and I've got another letter that's addressed, which will go out at the time, and it starts out, yesterday I died, and then it just tells what the plan for the company is, and it's all taken care of, it's all written. I put down at the bottom of it, I put dictated but not read.
Take out his flip phone and show you, so he's not going to be one.
This is my new one.
What?
I just turned in the one Alexander Graham Bell gave me. But,
I think probably a decade from now or so, even though I'll still want to be totally involved with Microsoft because it's my career, I will pick somebody else to be CEO. And
see some hands in the audience. That's one of the advantages of my job. We've got a candy company. We've got jewelry companies. I mean, I've become much more popular with women, since I bought the candy company
and the jewelry company.
I've got an 800 number I call now whenever I think about buying an airline stock. I call them up any hour that, fortunately, I can call them at 3 in the morning, and I just dial and I say, my name's Warren, I'm an aeroholic, and I'm thinking about buying this thing, and then they talk me down. I mean, it takes hours sometimes, but it's worth it, believe me. I don't like to sound, like a mortician during an epidemic or anything, but last fall was really quite exciting for me. I mean, I don't wish it on anybody, but there were things being offered. There were opportunities for us to do things that didn't exist a year or two earlier.
Yeah, I'll be taking my Harvard shirt off pretty soon because I didn't complete the whole course, so I didn't think I should leave it on the whole time.
Well, they don't allow you to wear it more than half the day, as I understand it, actually.
I used to say you have to marry the best person that will have you. And I'm afraid that's a rule of life, and you have to get by in life with the best advantage you can get.
check this man's credit and see if he's good. There I am down at the bottom here.
There you are in
I'm
this
over
corner.
here, and that's Bob Russell and Rich
You
Olson.
kind of have like a little bit of a grin on your face.
I
like,
must have been thinking about investments at the time.
Think for a minute, if you're going to get married, and you want a marriage that's going to last, not necessarily the happiest marriage, or one that Martha Stewart will talk about or anything, but you want a marriage that's going to last. What quality do you look for in a spouse? One quality. Do you look for brains? Do you look for humor? Do you look for character? Do you look for beauty? No. You look for low expectations. I mean, that is the marriage that's going to last. Both have low expectations. I mean, and I want my partners to be on the low side on expectations coming in, because I want the marriage to last. It's a financial marriage when they join me.
On the 18th hole, I've been caddying for him, and we get to the 18th hole, and he says, Warren, he says, I hear you play this game. And I said, I don't play the same game, Tiger. He says, no, you play this game. And he says, anybody that plays golf, I have to play for money. And I said, Tiger, that doesn't sound like the fairest thing I've ever heard. He said, no, we're going to play for money. I said, what kind of money? He said, serious money. He said, $5. I said, that is serious money. And after we made the bet, he dropped down on his knees, and he actually hit the ball on his knees.
Oh, no.
He still won the hole. He
Oh, no.
hit that ball about 260 on his knees.
No.
So I gave him $5, and I just handed him $5. And then I said, Tiger, you're forgetting something. And he said, what's that? I said, the caddy gets 10% of your winnings, so he gave me 50 cents back.
It's like that sign they put in brokerage offices that says, avoid hangovers, stay drunk.
Nice to see you. Thank you for coming in.
You've just quadrupled the IQ of the panel.
To my trustees, and I've got very few trustees. If you got a whole bunch of trustees, in my view, they just homogenize themselves down to sort of the lowest common denominator, because you get 30 people in a room, and prestigious people, but they'll all have their particular alma mater, and they'll all have their particular hospital, and it'll become a big trade-off game. It'll be a little like Congress. So I have very few people, and I don't give them anything specific, because I tell them their judgment above ground will be better than my instructions from 6 feet underground. So I said, well, is that what you want to do? And he said, no, but he said, that's the perfect resume. And I said, well, when are you going to start doing what you like? And he said, well, I'll get to that someday. And I said, well, I said, your plan sounds to me a lot like saving up sex for your old age.